Yeah. Miracles come while we in the fight. Don't give up and hold him tight. You will have a visible battle scar, but never forget who you are and fight, fight, fight.
Hello, and welcome to Embracing the Fight. I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host. So I know last week we were talking about catastrophizing because that is one of the things that a lot of people, deal with right now, and they don't necessarily know, that it actually is a thing and there's something that you can do about it. Just want to give you a little update. The young woman that I talked about in the first half of the podcast, she does not, I repeat, does not have HIV. So I am super excited, for her. And I'm prayerful that she continues to love herself and she continues to move forward and grow in her life. Now, young man, he's still dealing with the issue with the anxiety, but I know that he's taking the steps to seek counseling and to continue to move forward. All right, with that being said, today's episode 34, I'm talking about advocating for the elderly and the disabled. So let me tell you a story first. I had a lady that I reached out to because I heard of her situation, her circumstance. She knew that I had had a total thyroidectomy back in December. So she just had, I want to say it was her parathyroid removed back maybe in April, May of this year. However, after she had this surgery, she lost the use of her hands. So previously, she hadn't had any, mobility issues. She had no issues like with her hands at all. She could do all kinds of things. She was driving, she was cooking, cleaning. She was like just like an event planner, doing all these amazing things and volunteering. But she's a senior citizen, so initially the doctors or the surgeon basically told her that the surgery had nothing to do with it, but that struck me as being really odd because if you go into surgery you're able to use both of your hands, but then you come out a few days later you lose the feeling and the ability to use your hands at the same time. And I'm like, that sounds like maybe they struck a nerve. I asked her if she had any like autoimmune disorders, like if she had lupus or if she was dealing with arthritis or anything like that. And she didn't have any autoimmune disorders. And I started asking more questions, and the story seemed to get, a little bit worse because initially when she was having problems, which made them go in and remove her parathyroid, they kept telling her, oh, your calcium is skyrocketing. And because it's so high, you need to go to the emergency room. All right, so you're telling this elderly woman that she needs to leave your office and go to the emergency room. So why not have her transported there? Because that's well within the means, of the hospital or the physician or whoever it was that she was seeing. Because with Medicare, Medicaid, there is a clause that allows for non-emergency medical transport. So think about it like this: if she could drive herself, then it's not, an extreme emergency, right? Because why would a physician tell you, oh, just drive yourself to the hospital rather than getting you an ambulance if it's, a major emergency? But I'm saying if your calcium is that high and say it causes, an imbalance in your body, and say, I don't know, you might, I don't know, pass out at the wheel or something may happen to you, but someone could have come along, a patient advocate, someone, they could have said to her, all right, we're going to set up this non-emergency medical transport, for you to get you to the hospital. And then at that point, they would contact her family and make sure that she got there safely. But a lot of people don't know that that is available to you or to the elderly and to the disabled. Also, it's for people that have that clause in their insurance as well. So when is the last time that you took some time to sit down and look at what your parents or your grandparents or your aunts your uncles, or if you're a caregiver for someone who's disabled in some way, when is the last time you looked at what's available to them? So there are lots of different government programs that assist the elderly and assist the disabled when dealing, with whatever illness or whatever things that they have going on. For instance, you know that there are pharmacy couriers. So if you have an elderly parent or family member, or if you know someone that is disabled, or if you're a caregiver and you want the person's medicine to actually show up to their home and not, be in the mail, because certain types of medicine when it gets in the mail it can get missing and get in the wrong hands, and that's mainly the opiates. But what I'm saying is they have pharmacy carriers that are out there that will deliver, this medicine to you free of charge. You need to check with Medicare and Medicaid to see what's available to you. Another resource that you can look at is also AARP. And what was quite funny to me is I'm just gonna put it out there. My brother turned 50, and he turned 50 this year. And prior to him turning 50, he started getting these mailings, and it kept saying, you're eligible for AARP. And when we were younger, we thought AARP, you're like one foot in the grave, but that is not the case. AARP kind of wants to get a jump, on the aging process, or should I say not the aging process, but teaching you or getting you to understand what is available to you as you age. So I don't know if he ever joined. I don't know if he ever looked into it or anything like that, but it just tickled me because those papers started coming left and right the closer he got to 50. But it's funny to me, but it's going to be me in a few years. But anyway, what I'm saying is, if you are caring for someone, you need to know what's available to them as far as Medicare and Medicaid are concerned. And if they have some other type of insurance, you need to look at those clauses and see what's available to them. Because think about it. If you're paying all this money into this insurance and the only thing you're doing is getting a reduced like hospital bill, and that's it, you're not using it for, the non-emergency medical transport. You're not using it for a pharmacy courier service, or you're not using it to have someone come and sit, with the person that you're caregiving. For instance, say you're taking care of someone and something happens and you need to leave that person to go take care of a personal emergency. Well, some of these different types of insurances allow for a person to come in and sit with them while you're gone free of charge because it's already a part of your insurance. So really look into those things because there's so much that's available to you. If you think about it, there's so many businesses that are just popping up all over the place because if you think about it, there's about 72 million or more baby boomers that are out there. And lots of them don't necessarily have people to care for them, to check in on them, to, do anything for them, really. Some of them are still driving. I mean, of course, my parents are baby boomers and they're driving, they're in great health. But I'm talking about those that are driving that you see on the highway going 30 miles per hour on the interstate. That is not safe for them and it's not safe for you. But there are programs out there that will send transport, for them, especially like if it's for doctor visits or if they want to go and get their own medication. Or if, say, they are, I don't know, if they want to go to an assisted living facility, there are so many things out there that allow for them to do this. So where should you start? All right. So go to Medicare's website, start reading there first, and determine, what level of Medicare is actually available, to your loved one or to the person that you are a caregiver for. And then once you determine, what's available to them, start looking in that area and start building this portfolio for them. That way they can be more independent and you'll have peace of mind knowing that they're taken care of. So let's go back, to the story that I was talking about. So I spoke with her and I explained to her what she should do is go and see, another doctor, get a second opinion, and then start talking with a malpractice lawyer. So I bet you're like, why are you, suggesting she even do that? So sometimes I found that when the patients are older and if they don't have someone with them or they don't have anyone advocating for them, a lot of things are missed or misinterpreted. And if you have a malpractice lawyer that's going in on your behalf, you're more likely to find out exactly what was wrong in the beginning and if something was done that caused, this issue to happen. So in her case, she cannot use, her hands at this moment. And they tried to send her to physical therapy. They tried to give her several different blood tests. They were trying to figure out all this stuff like, what caused this. But then my question of her was, well, did they do all this up front before they did the surgery? And she was like, they didn't really tell me anything. And that's a major problem because I find when I talk to a lot of elderly people that when they go to the doctor, they're still, in the mindset of, okay, you just going for this one thing and that's it. No. What I need you to do is I need you to set up like an advocating journal or diary for them. And of course, they're not the ones that are getting on the computer. I know some do. Some do. I'm not saying they won't. But the ones that don't necessarily use a computer, give them a journal. Have them to write down whatever aches, pains, or issues they have. And if they notice that their medication has changed, you need to find out why their medication changed. Like, okay, did they increase, the dosage of the blood pressure medicine? If they did, why? Why they do that? All right. Are you looking at what this person is eating? Are you making sure that they have a balanced diet? Are you getting them out for exercise? Let's just say that they're not physically mobile, like to get up, to move, and to exercise, but say they can use their arms. So, what you want to try to do is get them involved in different communities where there are people that are like them. For instance, there are certain clubs in this area where the elderly meet and they'll play bingo, they'll learn line dances, um, they'll play bridge. Some of them just like to go for walks, things of that nature, but they're all coming together and some are on walkers, some on canes, some in wheelchairs, some can walk, under their own power, but they're surrounded by people that think like them. So if you're ever able to get in a setting like that, just take the time to look around to see how this helps these people to grow and to interact. Now, I don't know if you've ever noticed, well, when I was younger, my parents used to take us to nursing home and we would take birthday cakes and we would sing to the people and we would spend time with them just talking to them. And what I found was there was a lady that was in the nursing home in Macon, Georgia when I was a little girl, and she used to take these gym clips, and she would take small pieces of wallpaper, and she would wrap the gym clip and connect it together, making these very pretty, necklaces. You didn't even know it was wallpaper when it was done because the section that was connecting, she was putting little beads and things to cover it up so it really looked like, jewelry. And every time we would go there, she was always so, upbeat because she had been there that long. But the longer that she was there, she started taking on the properties of the people that were getting the greatest amount of attention. And the ones who were getting the greatest amount of attention were the ones who were shuffling, they were listless. They couldn't do things for themselves. And she found that the more independent I am, the less they'll come in and check on me. So she started to go down based on that. And I remember going in and they told us that she had passed away. And I was so shocked because I was like, she was so strong and she was doing so well. And I was talking with one of the activities attendants and they was like, well, she just really stopped, coming out of her room because, she didn't have any family visiting. She didn't have anybody checking on her or anything like that. So what I'm saying is, even if you don't have a parent or you don't have anyone that's disabled that you are taking care of, take some time to go and visit a nursing home, because you don't know how many of those people that are there don't have anyone to come see them, and then you don't necessarily know their story. Because sometimes their stories will be that they were married, for 50 years, and then their spouse passed away, and then their kids passed away, and they're the only one that's left. And they have so much left in them to give, so much knowledge, so much information. And if you don't get in there and, sit underneath that, there's so much that's lost. So you can be a patient advocate for people in the nursing home as well. So what I want you to do is, like I said, get that journal, sit down with your parents or the person that you're caregiving for, or another, elderly person that you want to see grow and be healthy and be happy and live the best, of their life for the rest of their life. So you get that journal and you find out from them what medications they're taking, when their appointments are, because you don't want them to miss any appointments. And then you kind of want to start to see how often they go, because I've noticed that sometimes they'll go 2 3 times a week when all they need to do is see one, physician. And it's like, why are you seeing all these different people? What's really going on? And then also, if you're able to get them to allow you to go with them to these appointments, then you're able to hear what the doctor is saying, and you're able to explain it to them and really see what it is that they can do, to help this person, rather than them being there by themselves and them accepting whatever is being told to them, because they, one, may not understand what it is that's being said, or two, they feel like, okay, this must be the best thing because this physician is telling me this is what needs to be done. So we don't want anyone to be subjected to that. And, I think about it a lot because I don't have, any kids of my own. And I just wonder, what's going to happen when I reach, a certain age, if the Lord allows. So for people like me, what I suggest you do is you start working on like an estate planning process, right? So you want to plan in such a way that your money works for you and that you're well taken care of, and you have all your directives, you have your will, you have everything written out. So in case you end up being the last one that survives in your family, at least you'll have someone that is watching over your estate. They're watching over you and your health, and you are not homeless, and you're not, living um, below the poverty line. So a lot of people that are, 70 plus, we found that they are homeless. We found that they are living in poverty because there's no one out there advocating for them. They're just hoping that things will happen the way that they should. And when they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. And I've noticed that a lot of the people that I see, holding their signs up on the road, they are the elderly. You go to those different places like the Salvation Army, Goodwill, and they are filled with the elderly and with the disabled. So where's this disparity coming from? A lot of it comes because people just are living their lives and they're moving around these people. And it's not like they're saying, oh, you don't exist. It's like, no, we have blinders on. So when we are going through our own life, we're looking inwardly saying, what can we do to make our lives better when all around us could possibly be falling apart? So find it in your heart to become an advocate for someone other than yourself. Make sure that you are putting the care and the love back into an elderly person. Even if it's just going over to sit with them for an hour or 2 hours to have a conversation, you'll be amazed at what you can hear. You'll be amazed at what you can learn. Because a couple of Saturdays ago, I went and I sat with one of my friends, and she is in her 70s. And She is one of the sweetest people that I've ever met. And we have these conversations. And when I tell her about some things that I'm going through, she gives me some spot on advice. And it's just like, man, she's got more knowledge than a lot of people that I know. And she's not judging me in any way, and she's not telling me anything that will harm me. It's always really good information. Just imagine if some of us would take the time to sit down, unplug from the world and sit with someone who's elderly or sit with someone who's disabled and just live in their world for a moment. That's what advocating is all about. You have to know the person that you're advocating for. You have to care for them. You have to feel a connection. You have to be so in love with the idea of taking care of someone, making sure that everything is right for them in order to be a patient advocate. You can't be impatient. You can't be one who, is a stickler for like details and everything has to be, correct. I mean, when dealing with directly with the person, now, yes, you need to be a stickler for details when you go into the doctor's offices or when you're calling the insurance company or when you're looking through paperwork to see, what benefits they actually have. So yes, you need to be detail oriented with that. But I'm saying when you're dealing directly with a person, sometimes you don't know. They might be developing, dementia and they just need someone to work their brain and talk to them and bring the good days out of them until their last day. So take the time, like I said, to get that journal, sit down, talk to these people, and work through it. It'll help you grow, and then it'll help you start to prepare for yourself, because we all age. We all have to come to the end of life. Why not have joy and peace when going through the aging process? So that's the end of this episode, but it's not the end of what I want you to do. Choose someone. Find someone that is elderly or disabled in some way and advocate for them. Now, of course, you got to get their permission, because you can't go in there telling grandma and mom and dad, oh, you gonna do this. It doesn't work like that. You go in with a gentle spirit and a humble heart and let them know that all this is being done out of love, and I believe they'll receive it. So this was episode 34, and I need you guys to go to YouTube, subscribe, like, share, and comment if this episode helped you at all. Thank you so much for tuning in to Embracing the Fight. Have an absolutely amazing day.